Yes. Very good. Welcome everyone. Welcome to members of the title. Been up on us earlier. It was cold morning. This meeting is being held here in the supper room at the Wahine Centre. It's also being live streamed and will be available to view on the Council's YouTube channel. All members participating by audio visual, which I don't have at the moment, will count over the purpose of the meeting forum. So clause 25B, schedule 7 of the Local Government Act 2022. Apologies. Now I have an apology from Rebecca Vox, who's had issues with Stella and therefore was unprepared. Do we have any other apologies? I notice we're missing one member. Have we had an apology from Brenda Lewis?
Not on zero. And also I should be on him.
Yeah,
so we could get that corrected as well.
Right, do we have someone to move to accept the apologies from Councillor Fox? Thank you, Lee. Seconded. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
All those against, the motion is carried. Now, this is an important one. Are there any conflicts of interest that anyone is aware of with regards to any applications? No. Good. Okay, speakers. So we have 5 minutes to decide for each speaker. We have got your application in front of us.
So sorry, it looks like it's realised Brenda has let us all know that she's got COVID.
Yeah, but the ability to join those
Oh,
who are present.
Okay, sorry.
Where was I?
Yeah. You asked conflicts of interest. Could I just ask, when we come to the one that Gary promises, the WUU to Y, the running one, that's at the racing club. So do you have a conflict of interest in that one?
Yeah. Well,
because they're using that and they're using the facilities. Sarah just didn't.
I'll declare it.
It's easier to declare it. So don't make pass in any way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I just wanted to.
So we can do this as we roll on. If you realise that maybe something. Yeah. Be as upfront as possible. Cool.
Sorry.
Right. So you get 5 minutes. Plenty of time for questions, but there will be additional time for questions after that. And we will, since we're running a bit late, we'll start off, not necessarily a bit on time, but Megan. And Megan is Martin Kindergarten. We've got that application. Over to you, Megan. Thanks for coming.
So kia ora, I'm Megan from Untitled Chapter, the head teacher at the kindergarten, and we're a not-for-profit organisation, and we provide high quality early childhood education for children in our community here. I'd first like to thank you because I was set here and got a grant on the 30th of April 21, and we got for our outdoor playground, which we have upgraded outdoor playground.
Absolutely awesome.
And this is what it looks like. So I'd like to thank the South Wellington District Council for their support in getting us a grant. We've got 3,600 in 21, so it has benefited our community and our children in this community. So I'd like to start with thanking you for that. Now, our next project is that we have a very old blind in our brand area. This brand area is utilised by the children for lunch. We set up activities under there, but we're under the problem at the moment that blind houses are always rated. And we've just been through a winter where we've had these big ones were all out, and some of these were out, and it wasn't a good thing because we need that space. There are 40 children in our kindergarten, So in the inside environment, if we can provide another room, which is the three that area, it's really good for us. It keeps the noise level down and it provides a good play space for the children. We've got a costing for it, for some new blinds, which me and Redford and Featherstone. This is what the new blinds will look like. And they're actually really good because they just roll down, they're like on rollers, and they're really easy to handle as well. Whereas these ones, we need it like a 2-man sort of lift. You've got to roll them up and down, and they have a big metal rod. So in the wind, they're really hard to handle. There's these ones at Nina Redford, which is in Featherstone Kindergarten, they have these new ones. So in doing that, I got some costing for it, and it's going to cost $19,000. And I went, oh, that's a lot of money to come out of our budget. So in our budget, we've budgeted $12,000 for it. So I'm after now the grant is support from the South Waiata District Council for $7,000 to help us purchase these new blinds. I mean, only this week, that's what happens. They just break, they rip. So that actually happened on that coldest day we had this week. So it's happening all the time. And to get them fixed, the last award that we got from Featherstone's to get them fixed was $920. You know, so it's costing us money. They need to be replaced, and yeah, we want to have a nice play space for our children to play in. I think I've covered everything.
Great. Well, lots of time as well.
Oh, have I'm not quite sure, but the kindergarten's been there 20 years.
Yeah.
I've been there for 12 or even 13 years now, and I've been there the whole time.
So it's time.
I would say they've been there almost 20 years.
Cool.
Yeah.
And the other question I have is, if we can give you money but not fund it fully, what are your alternatives for funding the differential?
Yeah, we do a lot of fundraising events, and because of COVID, we actually haven't done much fundraising lately. We have a golf tournament that we hold in Thursday, popular in the community, but they're local to Thursday with you next year. So, and I haven't sort of done it for a couple of years because you feel like with COVID, particularly and people in the community for sponsorship money, I just feel like businesses.
And you also got other uses for that money as well.
Yes, I'll definitely always buy resources like your paints or your, other resources that we need to function in kindergarten.
Councillor,
Yeah.
any question?
Just a quick question. Thank you. It was lovely to see the photos of what you achieved and what you plan to do.
Yes.
So just with these new blinds, would it increase the even temperature inside? Do you think it'll improve the?
I think so, yes. They're very efficient at Featherstone Kindergarten. I've talked to Anna, who's the head teacher there, and they provide a really warm, because they come straight down, so there's no draft that gets under them. And, we do actually have heaters up on our wall as well. You can see on here, there is heaters up here that we do have. So when all the blinds are down, it's another warm, dry space for the children to play in.
Winter and summer.
Yes, yeah, some of they all rolled up and it's still a lovely space. We set up activities under there. It is to say the children, we want them sitting at the tables to eat their kai, eat their lunch, so it's a good space for them as well. Yeah.
The ones in Pearson, how long have they been installed and what's the life expectancy on these? Do you know?
I'm not 100% on that, but I think this is quite recent with Featherstone as well, because they've done a lot of upgrade of the environment as well. So no, I'm sorry.
Yeah, if those ones have lasted, 15 years.
Yes. Yeah, they come from Featherstones, which are a really good company.
Yep.
Unfortunately, they are over the company post.
Yep.
But they seem to do all our work for kindergartens and service them. So we're dealing with sort of one provider in a way. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, any other questions? Great.
Yes.
Oh.
Looking at the costumes on rides, if you say that they're We've had the other ones for 20 years, to pay 19,000 to get another 20 years. You're just covering the cost of the maintenance on the old ones, really, which is getting a much better product. Have you considered on selling the ones you're taking down to recoup some of the money that way?
That could be possible. Yeah, that could be definitely possible. They're owned by the association, so I need to talk to them. And obviously, whoever bought them would have to make sure they measured the same, the same space. Yeah, but yeah, definitely that could be an option.
Yeah.
Thank you. Right. Thank you very much for letting me present our project to you. Thanks. Bye.
Right, next we have Barry Hislop.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. I have forwarded a presentation and so that will be circulated to you to give you some time to review our program, which is called CARE, which is about exploring sport, physical activity, physical education and learning. This program has been in place for 3 years. I'm a consultant, but more importantly, the ambassador of the program and designed the program in partnership with the sports bodies within the Wairarapa, the primary schools, secondary schools, and also the communities in which we work in. So today is my opportunity to form that relationship with this council, to let you know that we're actually working within this area, working with 500 children almost on a weekly basis, and also involved in community programs. We're looking to continue our service within this region and looking for your support and a relationship that we can actually work with our young children. The reason for this program was back in 5 years ago, Sport New Zealand did a study on these children's abilities in physical education and physical activity and their fundamental movement skills, which is directly related to their learning, numeracy and literacy, but also related to their ability to socialise and move within communities, like participating in sport. So that was my premise to, as 50 years of experience as a physical education consultant, to take up the mantra and design this program. It is about providing social and emotional development related to physical literacy for the children. The changes and the benefits that are given to the children. It's not about us delivering, it's actually about us supporting the environments. Teacher training, I've trained over something like 350 teachers who are given about 2 hours and a 4-year degree to learn physical education and also learning the principles of physical literacy. So my main role is supporting teachers, providing a safe environment, creating environments of learning around physical literacy, and also that is to train coaches in understanding the model of learning to play and learning for children to be able to participate safely at their level and also for them to own their learning as well. So it's, as I said, it's three years in the making, and we're looking to continue the plan. At the moment, we're working in Greytown School, 370 students, and in Martinborough School, 270 students. We're working from ages 5 right through to year 10, and also working in the youth area of pathways. So we cross sports boundaries, and we also cross community boundaries. I'm running a leadership program for a project called Puna, which is for young leaders within the community, and they contribute back to young people. At the same time, we're training young people with our called PALS program, which is a physical activity leader within a school setting. And that's about young people supporting younger people. Say, for an example, in Greytown, we have the year 9s who are trained as PAL leaders to learn fair play, safety culture, and learning how to engage with their younger one, 5-year-olds. So they're given a little commission to go and work with 5-year-olds during playtime, which is where a lot of behaviours are happening in terms of bullying and all that sort of stuff. So we've worked on that program in both Martinborough and Greytown with great success, amazing success. So we're looking to continue this relationship in this area. We have formed those relationships with Cardigan and marketing as well. But I think this is probably the best, our opportunity to present to you. So there's our window.
Right.
And just in that there are the other schools in the other areas as well. Have you been provided with financial support from the other councils?
Yes, with Masterton, we've had support from there. Cardigan not yet, we haven't had the chance to formally present. We are presenting, we're from a non-profit, I'm working under Cricket Wairarapa, which is a very competent organisation, and that's the reason it's there. We represent all the sports, that's a collaboration because that's the partnership there. We are delivering through the funding of Te Manawa, through Sport New Zealand. It's aligned with Sport New Zealand strategy. This program has also gone into other sports and is taken nationally as well. So the model's been taken out nationally because the concept of it's not just about a sport and it's not just about a play. It's an integrated pathway model. So in fact, our model is about developing pathways for young people through fundamental movement skills and play, enduring lifelong love of physical activity for all. Not funded.
How often would you visit the South Wairarapa School?
Weekly. Right at the moment, we've got probably 85 children going through a program, class by class and syndicate by syndicate.
So, how many people, how many FTEs, full-time employees would you have?
I'm mostly a volunteer and I'm an education advisor. I only have one.
The only reason I ask that is that as part of that application, I know that it's like we live in 13 laptops.
We have under Cricket Wairarapa who actually manage, and so there's 3 staff who are trained and educated to go into the schools, and some of those we are cross-funding between organisations. And so that, for an example, the tools to go out and teach teachers and teacher training and all that sort of stuff.
What about so it's purely for education?
No, we're working in Featherston and we're working there in the holiday programs.
Oh, good.
Yes,
Good.
so downtown reserve, so we'll be looking at strengthening communities within the Martin Valley as well, and Gladstone. We've already had those relationships. We've actually got a player that we take around, so it requires quite a bit of equipment because we create a play environment. The children come there to explore.
Yeah, thanks very much for your presentation. Just lost immediately clear to me. You applied to SWC funding last year. You said you'd applied before.
Yes, that would have been through Wairarapa. Yes. I'm not sure. As I said, I'm the ambassador and volunteer, and so the day-to-day financial is fine.
And so maybe you can't answer this as well. Are you aware of the actual dollar amount of Masterton District Council? Yeah.
$10,000 plus a trailer.
10,000.
Barry, how are you going with talking with the Featherston School? So we've got Greyhound School, we've got Margaret School.
Yeah.
How are you going to?
Oh, no, they're ongoing. I mean, with the workforce, what we're endeavouring to do is that we educate the teachers, we work with this model the program within schools, and then we move on. So we've got Featherston School, and we've got Pongaroa, they're all put their hand up for the program as well. So we'll be going in and working with those as well. In some schools, like Greytown, we wanted to, in Martinbury, we wanted to model a practice so that we could actually have long-term measurable outcomes. And those measurable outcomes were based upon children's competency in movement, but also their socialisation. So using the school values to take it into the community. As you have probably observed in some of the behaviours that are happening in the school holidays, when we go back to the school, the children have been modelling their values within the school, but haven't taken it out. So our role is to moderate that and keep that value-based approach going.
It sounds like what your aims and aspirations dovetail very well with Nicaragua. And
Oh, yeah.
how much support or do you get from Nicaragua in this?
Well, through the funding in Timalo, it comes through them. I used to be the general manager of Sport Wellington, so I have a close relationship with the team and the Healthy Schools program as well. So we're aligned with all of those.
You get funding through the grants scheme through Nicaragua.
Through Sport New Zealand.
Yeah.
Yes, and of course they're one of our partners.
And do you partner in any way with Great House Sports and Leadership?
Yes, we've met with them. They've got a different role or function.
Yeah.
But the alignment there is that the children that we're working in the schools have a pathway to go to a club.
So
And I was familiar with that, I formed that with it.
So it's good that you're getting, you're getting funding from Sport New Zealand as well. Which I think is
Yeah, well, like these funding practices, they generally start off at 70%, come down to 40%, then it'll come down to 30%. This is our third year, so we are forming those relationships. We just formed a relationship with Master Land Trust.
Yeah.
And under a different program, we're working on a social model through that, through using physical literacy. But, these government agencies have this reduction thing, which leaves you half stranded and trying to keep employees.
well good.
Could I just ask, you've gone to the bigger schools within the South Wairarapa. Is there a indication that you're going to look at our smaller schools like Burma, South
Yeah. Yeah.
Teresa's,
Yes, St. Teresa is one of the. Another model we've been using is rural skills supporting rural schools. Tonyama is one where they support Tinuri, and then so that formed another cohort through our education training teachers. So we bring the teachers together and they then accelerate. So that's the model that we're doing. So we're already got a book in the Pullinara, which is 85 children, I believe, that we'll be working with.
So can I ask when we start that program?
It won't be now till the new year, but we will have modelled a couple of practices before the end of the year.
Any other questions, Dan?
I'm not sure if I've just missed it, but so the 10,000 is going towards which part of this? So
South Wairarapa is supporting the school delivery, teacher delivering, and also supporting the participation holiday programs in that. So it gives us the resources to deliver at Car Reserve and school holidays running care.
Gotcha, great. So and so in a way of being able to provide the space as well. Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, we're actually doing it. Possibly have to try and find funding.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to find the breakdown of where this funding,
Yes.
what it actually looks like.
I just sent you a report, and you'll see some costing.
Yeah, so it'd be Pam has struggled with as well as the differentiation of what you're doing, your activities and the financials versus Wairarapa.
Because the financials you've given show a $63,000 surplus that's holding in the accounts, but then you're asking for 10,000.
Yeah,
So we don't.
no, we work we're working under Wairarapa Cricket as a separate entity or project.
Okay, so then we need to have something that's separate.
Yeah, I'll get that too.
Thank you.
Yes.
That gives us a clearer picture of.
The reason for Wairarapa Cricket was they were the most competent regional sports organisation for us to work within. As it was a partnership between, this is brought about by regional sports. The regional sports said, we've got a problem. We said, well, let's design a program to help fix that problem. Cool. That's good. We wouldn't need that if we could. Yes, I'll do that. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that.
We're not
I'm retired. I thought I was.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Right, Paul Olds, here is representing Figure Design for Charitable Trust. nice to see you on that side of the bench. It's not really nice.
Right, good morning, your worship and council. Thank you very much for allowing me the opportunity to present or to support supporting its charitable trust application for this funding. Firstly, you've seen the application was sent through, so I'll just dwell a little bit on the history that the Fitz and Zone Charitable Trust was established in 2010 by Stella Smith, and primarily for operating the op shop and providing some funding back into the community by way of community grants. There was a change in 2018, 19, where a new trust was formed and looked at greater opportunities of how they can serve the community other than just the op shop. So we established the organisation, Fitz and Zone Charitable Trust, established took over the responsibilities of running the food bank from current house, risk caring support services in those days, and also established a recycle, upcycle, reuse centre. So they're the two key organisations that operate under the umbrella of the Fitz and Zone Charitable Trust. Regretfully, we had this little thing called COVID come along, and the impact on that, of course, and particularly around the food bank, was an increased demand for services provided by the food bank, product, etc. And the food bank, and I'll emphasise this, is not funded by MSD, solely funded through proceeds from the op shop and community donations of goods and financial donations as well, and has been operating since the start, or since it was taken over since it was transferred from current house. So you can imagine with the advent of COVID, not being able to operate the op shop to full capacity, it's been quite a stretch on our resources in the way of funding food. The establishment of AMUR was a really important phase because with recycling and reusing, we're trying to prevent a lot of product going into landfill in this day and age, and we're starting to see some good successes there. Once again, COVID put the brakes on things in terms of our operating hours, but AMUR has got the potential to make a real impact on what actually ends up in landfill in the future. We've got a great manager there and a dedicated team of volunteers. In fact, volunteers play a huge part in the organisation. It's in the measure for the op shop and food, and Featherstone is very, very strong in its volunteer network, so we're really thrilled with that. Training and support, and I think it's most important. Guy, who manages AMUR, for instance, is very keen on training, I guess, younger people, for instance, on how to conserve more and perhaps look at opportunities for recycling, reusing more, and bringing people on board to fix push bikes, for instance. Some of those youth groups, and they're on board to fix push bikes and to refurbish machinery. We're just swinging a couple of bikes through their electrical tag and test and tag training, so we'll be able to any product that comes in of electrical nature will be safely reuse that in the community once it's passed the tagging test. So that's sort of a bit of an overview, and I'm happy to answer any questions that people may have. So
I'm sure there will be questions. Did anyone go for it? I've got one to start with. So,
sure.
You know, it's pretty impressive the turnover you're getting from the charity shop. So this is really to enable you to do more, because at the moment you're running quite well, you know, financially, healthily. So is that your intention?
Yeah, so if we separate obviously the food bank has been quite demand on resources, and you know, our last finances with that amounts diminished. We spent something like 14,000 in 2 months just on buying food product. And we're actually going to go to the community and fundraise to a large extent to keep the money flowing effectively, to allow us the opportunity to buy food with was like this, we raised a couple of $1,000, and you know, so things like that, which we have the shops been able to support a lot of that, and also private donations as well. So the grant fund we're actually applying for is to allow us to do a little bit more with Armour. We had set some money aside to reclare Armour and do a few things down there to sort of make it a little bit more appealing, a little bit more attractive with some more storage space. But because we've had to put money into other services, scales a little bit short in certain areas. So the shop does turn over a good amount of money, and the COVID has had quite an impact on that. So the money that was put aside to support Armour, it just doesn't need. So this is the idea of actually council for to assist us in that process.
Thank you, thanks for that, Colin. I was just wondering, does the wire up the food bank, they're supporting your food bank, is there a relationship there? To be trying to do everything off your own back, you know, and there is the wider upper food bank that helps.
So
like an umbrella, so.
Yeah, absolutely right, and it's only over recent times we've managed to tap into the likes of wire waste, for instance. We regularly supply wire waste. We've got a really good working relationship with the other food banks right across, including Markborough as well. And that support for each food bank is actually growing, and it's simply through relationship building. Yes, by our manager and Featherston, who's done a wonderful job of re-establishing relationships, really. Yeah. But Marsden, they also operate under their own auspices to some extent. So we, and likewise we do as well, but we support one another, not necessarily with product, because we can all access wire waste, which is really good. But in terms of funding, food is very expensive nowadays, and we don't get, as a food bank, we actually don't get a lot of discount. In fact, we don't get any. In some cases, we do get a lot of product that's actually donated to us, and that's really helpful. That saves money. So yeah, it's just an interest, boom and demand. You know, we'd love to, you know, even our premises, we've spent some money on there to try and spruce it up a little bit, make it a little bit more appealing. But it'll cost. So
Thank you.
Yeah, a couple of things, Colin. Capacity at Armour, is that getting limited at this stage?
Yeah, I can't.
Because I've been down there, I sort of think.
Guys are always screaming out for additional containers or something. You know. There's a huge amount of product that obviously has gone to landfill in the past. People are starting to recognise, so we really don't want to dump this because it has a value or it's it'd be useful for someone.
So more containers would be possible.
Yeah, we've got an option on getting a 40-foot container for $5,000, which we'll have to consider. Pretty good value.
And the container and the chiller facility.
So that's sort of there. So the money
that's doing okay.
That is wonderful because we got that fed through as a grant for those two containers. And then we can support obviously from Rotary for the refrigerated containers.
Yeah. And that's, do you need more capacity there or?
No, Aaron said that's fine. They don't really, you may want to power more stuff because a little bit about 6 freezers, as I say. And they actually run it constantly because we've got refrigerated products. So you know, the overheads for the food bank while it's sitting on trees. Yeah,
thank you. Yeah, even the last rainfall as well, didn't you?
Well, yeah, and unfortunately, somebody didn't cover anything insurance, so that actually cost us a few dollars. So I think it's
any other questions?
All right, thank you very much for considering us. Yeah, look forward to your favourable response.
Right, Robin, see the patient.
So I'm not sitting here as sitting here as chairperson of the Wailalaka Taranō Central Hawke's Bay Education Trust. Not setting up to Central Hawke's Bay. We'll have read our application. Hopefully, we've had a chance to have a click through and see some videos and We are, like everybody, fundraising for 2 years. Although we did attend the National Fair earlier this year and Rotary very kind gave us a stall. So our fabulous educator Laura is also an accomplished face painter. So we had her working on one of the days of face painting and got her again Sunday festival. So for us, all of our funding comes through grants and donations, and in fundraising. We've actually had one fundraising meeting this afternoon at 4 o'clock with an idea of our first fundraiser in several years. And we received no funding from head office, so I wanted to propose Life Education Trust New Zealand sits here, and we have trusts underneath with the majority of the funding from head office. It's just the model that they have set up. Head office runs other programs as well. None of the trusts around the country get funding from head office. They do a whole lot. They do a whole lot. They do a whole lot, and they train the educators. So as you've seen, one full-time employee, which is our educator Laura, who's amazing. And this year, I listed the schools that she has got booked in to the schedule. We do charge the schools, it's $6 per child. The true cost is probably closer to $30 odd. WBS very kindly given us some funding a month or so ago, which is going towards the English Kids Here Resource Book, which costs us $1.50 each, which we purchased from the office. So WBS have actually come up with $100,000 for us, so it's enabled us to purchase the resource book. So that's the on it. So that's been really great. You'll see the schools that we're visiting this year. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the Healthy Panel program and Harold. They do some amazing nicely. Our educators are an amazing job from teaching kids confidence, giving them permission to say no and knowing their boundaries are, as well as the healthy eating and exercise and all that part of it. As you've also seen, Laura did a 2-day working on vaping, which where the South Wairarapa Airport. She's the only educator in New Zealand who was selected to do that outside of their training office. So that was a good coup, and great that was here in South Wairarapa. And then Laura works really closely with the schools, so she just talks to principals and teachers about what programs they would like her to cover, and then she tailors each of the objectives, we call them, the things that teachers do. But she puts the programs together but tailors them for each school, so she's not rolling out the same thing from one school to another to another. That's the whole. Yeah. So we are coming cap in hand. I've only been chair for 2 years. I've been on trust for 3. We've got a couple of new trustees coming on board to run these programs. So we've got Darren Kerr, who's the principal at Waiana. So he's just come on board and he's yeah, so
I'm sure we've got some questions about
I'm sure.
if I could start with and say, looking at your donors, and we didn't contribute last year, but you do go from Tararua to the South Wairarapa, and I have not seen years with the Tararua Council mastered in this.
So no, Carterton had 3 years grant MOU, which is really helpful. Because we haven't had trustees up in Tararua, and because of COVID, there's currently we have 5 trustees and 1 left. So we can see them. I've say no. I've only just taken on doing grant applications. Previously, one of the accountants, Sarah Sayer, was doing our grant applications for us in her own time, which was really, really kind. But she's had been doing it for about 4 or 5 years, I think. I think usual grant applications, you have 3 years is probably a max, you want to stay fresh. So I will be, now I've bravely passed that job, I will be looking from Taylor, I will be getting that last. Yeah.
So my supplementary on that is looking at the amount of Eastern Central and the Rhino Foundation, how much of a risk are those? Because I know that they are pinched for money.
Yeah, so we are at a huge risk from all of our grant funding, and it's reducing. But I mean, there's finite reason my hands with all know, and more people expect money. What we are really hoping to do is that we want to start setting up some really cool fundraisers. We've got a really cool idea for a fundraiser, which hasn't been done anywhere before. So we've kind of got a little subcommittee doing that. So what we would like to do is get some really good partners on board. So businesses and companies that are prepared to partner with us for, you know, like a 3-year period. And through that, that also then leads to other donations coming through. So we become reliant on having to come for grants, especially as the polls shrink. And then the lottery is money in the poker because it's tokens now. So again, hope that answers your question in a really long way.
Okay,
Yeah, do you get any assistance from the Ministry of Education?
Nothing. Yeah, it's not nothing. And it's, you know, with the stuff that we're doing, and you know, from health, mental health, just the whole gamut. No, nothing at all.
And I love how
You've got an event centre on Sundays.
Any other questions?
Just follow on from the funding side, you want to share how much you get from the CDC?
5,000
Per annum.
per annum over 3 years, yeah. We had, I don't believe they had gone for funding from them prior, and I had suggested that we do, but then I actually chair our grants committee. Conflict, yeah. So yeah, some companies will be applied and applied last year, and it was suggested actually to not only that they have 3 years, just to stop us having to.
There is an option for you that next triennial.
Yes, hopefully. Yeah, well, who knows?
I just want to make one of the colleagues, it's really quite frightening stats on alcohol and young ones. I was quite shocked. But it's good to see you in that banking space because I think it's going to be
It's getting much bigger, and they at the moment head office target and have a 3 actors every year that go around the country to intervene secondary steps, and they have a program on alcohol, which is called Smash, and Smarts, which is on planetary literacy, and then have to make which is also very, very special media. So it's a new one this year, and it targets the secondary schools. That's the space that head office work in. But because we get the resources, you're as able to target it. Because there's vacancies in primary schools now. I mean, I was it's just shocking. I mean, it's shocking.
doing great work. It's
Yeah, I love it. I'm not necessarily passionate about it.
Any other questions, councillors?
What is the reaction from the schools, obviously?
Yes, oh, hugely.
Feedback from
The feedback is nice. I think it's really every school that needs to have to start and just amazing. During COVID, we did have our own Howard soap, we came to our own and so we decided to do a course and fundraise for our county. So Carol says £7.5 grand. So So Harold now goes to get this in December, and I believe he will be coming there on the 26th of November. But we'll be leaving early because it's the same place as Carlton, it's just a parade, you know, you have to be in both places.
Gareth will come back. All right. Cool. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Have a good day.
Yes. So we are running a bit late. It's Charlotte. Charlotte,
I've caught that timing.
and obviously you've replaced that. Nothing like it.
Well, thank you. So I'm here for the Marlborough contract project, which I know I've presented to a few of you before, but just a bit of an overview. So this is a community-led project from just groups of people that have come together and sort of appreciated there's some missing gaps and that we can do it ourselves if we get enough of the crew together. So there's the Marlborough Youth Trust is the structure that the project's coming under, which is an established group that have had to sort of pivot what they've been doing because with COVID, the sort of adventure programs that they've funded children to go on to have been closed down in the period. So there was also a desire after Marlborough Park was formulated as some things that were still needed in the community, especially for the older children, who in general in the world wrap, there were a few gaps. And a few of us just got brainstorming. A pub track was the top of the list at the stage, and so it's been quite a journey so far for the group, but we've got through all of the process with council, with the space in Constantine Park that we are able to utilise, and now we're at the nitty gritty of the fundraising stage for the project to develop the pump track, which a pump track is an asphalt track that has ramps and bumps, and the traditional theory of a pump track is that you would use your bike to not pedal but gain momentum to go around. So great for activities and sport. Our pump track we want to be multifaceted, so not just for bikes. So we want it to be used for skateboards, scooters, for balance bikes and toddlers, because we want it to be something from little pre-riding toddlers to teams that are going to really get some skills and test themselves. So it's about putting something in that's going to be really diverse, as well as adults could utilise it. We've got space by the community pool, so it's a really good kind of summer for a pool and pump track and that beautiful big green space. But also for visitors. I mean, Marlborough is a really biking community, so families and more families are coming over. It's not just all about coming to do the videos now, so people are coming to do the biking and they can come and the kids can do that kind of thing. We've got a designer who is really great at understanding the community project sort of scope of what we're doing. So he's working with us because we've got a lot of community support, so people with skills in the community wanting to help, wanting to provide diggers and material, and he's working knowing that we have that capacity as well. We've got our cost in, and it's just come in at 205,000. So there might be a few other things on that. We've suggested we will try and skin it with the finishing touches and use the planting of it as another community project, but we'll probably do it like the P&K in phases and sort of work through, because it is a community-led project. We had always gone into the project knowing the agreement with council that we wouldn't go to council for money, because we knew that they have other projects like this with the Great Town Park in different areas, and we appreciate we can't do everything in every town. But we were made aware that we could come for the youth grant and potentially pay funds specifically for our project. And that was fine because we have sort of got a whole band of things, but we're at the nitty-gritty where we are doing the fundraising. We're hoping to build in the first half of next year, but it's just about getting the money together now. And so that's why we're here today, to hope that you would support in some way this project and appreciate the project and what we're trying to do, but
Great, I can do a few questions, but
So you, what was the decision to come here rather than come to the community board for the payment? Because you can't be both.
No, we've been told we can do both.
Oh, you can do
but yeah,
there is under the plain fund, we
Yeah.
have the ability, the review board has the ability to.
Yeah.
It's a separate.
it's a separate fund. So we are going to go to plan farm, but I've been working with the lady whose name escapes me right now, who's just redoing all the procedure around plan farm.
It's
I mean, I've never had any phone call with it. So I'm working with Amanda. We've had a big phone call around who needing to just redo some processes, and we were going to touch base when that was done, that we can go forward.
Yeah.
But of course, we'll also have a change over of things, so I don't know how timing will be.
Okay.
But we'll be there, don't worry. Yeah,
Well, that will, but we'll talk.
yeah, it's a timing thing.
Yeah, just 200,000 is quite a lot. Can you do this as a staged production, or do you have to sort of really get all the money in the bank before you go? I understand you can't build a track and then lay the asphalt, but can you actually get something off the deck before?
Well, we've already got money. I mean, since we started the project, we've been subsequently fundraising. So there's a bit in the bank. We've talked to our designer, is incredibly, he's done community projects before with bricks and schools. We've talked about how the payment structure will fall, and that will all come to fruition. We basically would like to raise the 200,000. I mean, definitely, like I said, there's going to be places with like locally in asphalt, and actually asphalt's quite obviously a considerable cost, but we've got a local person that has already offered to support that, but we costed it based on if that didn't come to fruition, we've got to have it in place. So there's going to be potentially, and that's going to be a continual thing, but we've got to get the grant, we've got to get a significant amount of bank. Landscaping, we sort of wanted it to get built and usable in that sort of build period, but there'll be all the fancy touches that will come in later.
The enthusiasm will come once.
Yeah. So we, I mean, we need to get sort of a considerable amount of bank, but yeah, I think there's that sort of staging factor that we have got, and the support, like people have said, you know, diggers, and it's hard to break that down. So we sort of going, well, let's just make headway, and you know, if we can take off.
But remind me of your completion date.
We
Ideal completion.
ideal completion date would have been at the end of this year for me, but reality is slightly different. We had the designer come down and do a site visit. We realistically looked at what the budget was, and he said, well, why don't I pin the beginning of next year? And then we had to sort of say, we've got to have a goal. So I said, well, and he suggested before winter. So I was like, well, if we do it in the first, if we do it, if we can do it perhaps not at the height of summer when the ground's so baked in on, but maybe April, May, we're looking at.
Yeah, that's it, June 20.
It's been a long project. Yeah.
Other question, I mean, we already seen this before.
Yeah, everything should be, yeah.
Right.
And I feel that the community is getting more and more.
Yeah, and now we've got really solid costs. People are already, like, people are just saying, can we donate? So, you know, people are very generous, but, you know, you've got to have a few chunks of something to make a bit of headway. Thank you, guys.
We are running a tiny bit long, but we will catch up in this next block due to a cancellation. So I do apologise to Wayne. Wayne here? Wayne. Yeah. From the Carlton Village Charity Trust. Sorry for delaying me, Wayne. Thank you very much.
Signed from the Carlton Village Charitable Trust. It's a trust that accommodates young people who are at risk. In respect to the young people that we service, they're not at the top of the clipboard freeform, basically at the bottom. We deal with a whole lot of kids that use gang life, sexual abuse, a whole range of different things. Some of the kids that we get currently IWS Inclusive Wraparound Service through Ministry of Education. They come to us for learning, for inspire people on different things. Currently, we have 7 cabins on site. We have in the last 3 to 4 years serviced 50 young people coming with us. The issues that we have are that you can have events with young people, but we actually live with them. So we see a whole range of different things and we see them in real time. But what we're currently dealing with now is that we have the biggest influences that young people are coming under in this region now. A lot of it is about gang life, gang membership, and recruitment. The thing for us is that we need to get these young people early. We're trying to get them early so that we can create programs that deal with the reduction of youth offending, reduction of gang recruitment. We have a whole lot of gangs in that area now that are collaborating. Not only they used to be at war with each other, but now they collaborate because they're sharing the same cookbook, methamphetamine laboratories that they create. What we're trying to do now with our young people is to steer them away from that space so that we can get them early. Prevention is better than the cure. Out of all the percentage of young people that come up with drugs and alcohol is a huge issue. Sexual abuse is a huge issue. And violent conflict is issues a lot, is what we see a lot of that time. If we can't find a family member or link that we can create for them to connect to, then we create that ourselves. We did become that link. What we're doing is we have young people who come in, they're contracted to an individual life link, which means that they have to sign a contract that says that they're committed to moving forward. And so what that does is we align with programs around cooking, budgeting, life skills, and transition into independence, but opening the scope of their vision, not to be tunnel, just to open up the programs and let them see what's available. We're about presenting options all day, every day. I'm Samoan, predominantly a lot of the kids that currently thought that they were going to be Māori and Pacifica. The percentage is very low actually. Predominantly most of them are European. And they come from spaces like Martin Bay, they come from Edison, and they come from Carlton and Master. Out of the 50 young people that we've had in the last 3 years, 13 of them have come from Martin Bay. So what we're saying is that we've also collaborated with the community centre affairs, looking at other options around servicing young people in this space, but the need for them to progress and to move forward to find real good opportunity. Now that moment is upon us now, and it's getting harder and harder to find new housing because emergency housing is huge everywhere in this country. So first the priority is to house families. What does that mean for young people? They don't even get a look. They're surfing, they're couch surfing, they're moving from house to house, they're doing a whole range of things and just trying to survive. We have a waiting list that is through the roof, and we are at full capacity, and we're unable to expand. And I've come here today because what we've been doing is working with other members in the community. So all we want is we just want some comfort in our home. That's all we want. And so if we can get that, these kids are going to be warm, it's going to be safe, it gives us great backdrop to feel warm so that we can move to a problem. And one of those things around food and shelter is taking care of that. But for them to reach that self-actualization, to feel, that they're in the right space, that we can move forward and educate them. We have a range of people that help us. A lot of them are volunteers. But some of the things that we get through the Ministry of Education, some of those cases are very much unique. They can't go to college. They cannot go to college. College will not accept them due to their violence and the way that they are and the families that they come from. So we teach 3 or 4 young kids in the space in the village and take them through Kura, to which the Ministry of Education funds us to do that. So these are kids that are actually walking to a classroom, excuse my language, and just smash it up. And so it's our job to help, move them to a different space, manage their behavior, manage their medication, all the mental health problems and issues that come with that, and we try and move them forward. It's a lot of work, but it's rewarding for us to see kids move. Transformation may not happen to the families that they come from, but with the skills that we've implanted in their life, transformation will come with the families that they create. And that's about servicing and being able to stop some of those cycles that repeat themselves. We're not looking for the cyclical pattern of behavior in their life. We're looking to become a circuit breaker for what they're experiencing. And that's why I'm coming today. That's the village. We have a documentary that I can email to you that you finish. There's a whole range of things that these kids have done. it's really exciting to see where we can.
Before we start, I apologise that you actually have to come and ask. I can't believe that you're not being funded.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, and what we're trying to do is to make our space, our hope is that we can have villages all over the country, that other like-minded communities can adopt, have their own autism, autism.
So the question is, why aren't we being funded by the government for this?
Yeah, sure. So what we've done is we've applied for government, now going through that process, but all the cabins that are $15,000 each, all the renovation that we've done for all, that's about $250,000 we've done there. None of that has been government funded. It's all come through community, through people that we just know, friends, family. So now we're finally trying to say, okay, we can't meet. Now we're starting to look now at what's available. So we're having a conversation.
If you could send through the documentation, great to receive.
Yeah, sure. I've seen this. But, please.
Dream of amazing ways, beautiful. It is. Just a question about the carbon. Have you been to, for example, carbon court or to see if they would help you contribute?
Yeah, they said good help with the quote.
It's very nice. So no, we didn't.
Trying to get some.
Just to quick, I have seen the video, I'm very impressed. How young? Say young.
Yeah, so for the mental education space, we've got from 12 to 15. And those who live with us, respite care guys from the weekend, 12 to 15, but those who live with us, 15 to 24.
Can I ask, are they, sorry, are you putting the youth into work? So are you taking them so they get their bit more education and know to manage their emotions and things? Is the ultimate to get them into work, or should we do the start?
Yeah, the ultimate is to get them into a space of independence, and that involves work, and involves financing, involves, a whole range of things. Those good life skills that they need.
Work and income, be working with you on this, because this is their needs pathway to work.
So we're working in sessions with Yes to Work and announcing Kumara Trust, which is around employment, preparing CVs, work ready, all that sort of stuff.
And you're doing that for some South Wairaka.
Yes.
So we probably need another conversation.
Yes, indeed.
Real tassels for jobs. Other questions? Yes, you put your case very well. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the work that you've done. For the 13 youths from the South Wairaka, and people like you what make a big difference. And you'll never be forgotten.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Now, going on Jamie and Chloe, or we just got. Just got Nicola Aura, we've got your grant application in.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
I think we've seen you year on year for a while.
Yeah.
And so who's the new CEO?
So we've got an acting CEO at the moment, so that's Michelle Hamlet, and so usually she's out doing the partnership state, which is smart. Yeah, so she stepped in until I believe it's November. Then I'll probably so.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Over to you.
So we'll thank you for having me along today. And unfortunately Jay was unable to attend. He rang me about 8:30 and said, oh my gosh, like traffic, everything's all sort of hit. So yeah, Wellington, I guess that's for you. So our application to your council here, basically I want to just talk on highlighting some of the regional planning with spaces and places people undertake. So that's Tara. So with this work, so council will be able to refer to the input reports audit, which is being undertaken at the moment, and so that will help with future provision and management of demand for facilities. Council will also be able to utilise the regional sports field review, so that's being undertaken at the moment. So of particular interest to your council are areas that highlight climate change, water restrictions and lack of green space. So we know that's quite linked into your strategy there. Look at what it can support local clubs, groups, organisations who have disability challenges. So that target in the making of developing a facility handbook, which will be available in 2023. I guess as a smaller council, just in terms of like capacity to provide in-depth facility support is a bit limited. So that's where we can really help you there. So our spaces and places where you can support communities just through the work that they undertake. Another benefit, so regional spaces and places do facilitate a steering group. And so this is basically a forum where there's another 7 territorial authorities that are included. And they're basically coming together and collectively plan and respond to the challenges that are being faced. It sounds like a lot of councils also have very similar challenges. So yeah, being able to pull on and gain knowledge, talk about things is very helpful. So yeah, basically upskilling. It's just a really good forum for them to have. So yeah, Bryce Needs used to be a part of this group, and then we look forward to having James O'Connor very shortly in the group. We're actually meeting with James next week, so Tara and myself, which will be good. And yeah, just to introduce all the spaces and places things to him. This collective also provides your council with, like I've already mentioned, so sharing best practice, information resources, but also national insights from the Sport New Zealand representative who comes along to the collective meetings as well. And yeah, and like I've already mentioned, so it's really good value there to what others have already done, and also through other shared projects. Another thing that's sort of mentioned within that focus group there, it's always that climate change and population growth, which all of the councils are facing at the moment. So everyone's sort of got their challenges in those spaces. So they're really good for them to come together. Another part here, so I want to feel that the work that we're doing in the spaces and places area is around the economic well-being, where we've spoken about protecting and replenishing natural environment and biodiversity. So the correlation here is to the sustainability principle in our spaces and places plan, which is about future-proofing, responding to climate change, and thinking about ways facilities can reduce carbon footprint and so forth. And I guess the last thing I'll mention, so Nuku Order, we are a conduit to Sport New Zealand's expertise in the spaces and places area that benefit your council through this partnership as well. So yeah, obviously James will be able to tap into that. Yeah, so thanks for letting me sort of talk around that.
I'm sure we do.
I'll do my best.
Thanks, because I'm not sure. So you're looking at 2,000.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
And I believe that's what last one was the same.
Yeah, I believe so.
I'm just, it's more looking at MOU, like the opportunities there.
Probably not. It might be next training.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, so that leads to the segue from my question. So this is a 3-year project,
Yes.
right? And it's 134,000 per annum to run the project.
I believe. I'm not sure, to be honest. Not sure of a lot of that financial stuff, but I can find out for you.
Yeah, I think because otherwise, it's either $500,000 or it's 450,000, or it's 134, but we don't want to keep funding
Yeah.
year on year for the same project.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I did it 3 years, and yeah, so Tara is very much in the second year at this stage.
It's not quite clear on the funding requirements, but it says total cost of project of 134.
Yeah. Let me double check that again.
That is a part of it.
Yeah.
And with regards to Nuku Orders, and I might be going slightly off track, other activities in South Florida. How are they going as an organisation of being able to proactively influence the aims and aspirations of Nudora in the South Wairarapa, because we have had some an issue with capability, I think.
Right.
in the organisation.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are in Finston School, so with Darren from Learning. We do have our community development team as well, so the space, older adults, also sort of like in the coaching area, so areas of play. So Civ is involved with the playing network, so you're very much involved with that. In terms of, I guess, my role itself, so I'm relatively new, so starting in May, so taking over from Dale Parks, as you might know. Yeah. So my role at the moment is sort of getting out and about, meeting people. So we've had a really good conversation with Sid and just how we can work together in terms of that, from the community, what's the community voice, what are we hearing? Before Charlotte talking about the contract, which is really exciting. But definitely anything that is around that, active recreation, we want to help and support, how can we work our services around that. So yeah, very much in that.
You're in a difficult spot, with regards to resourcing and chicken and egg, saying you need the funding to do all of that sort of. I think that's off track off this.
It's a whole other conversation.
So, Councillor, any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, you just clarify that total.
Yeah, so now I'll get to call Saturday. Thank you.
Joy and Helen, I think I saw you arrived there. Welcome.
Hi.
You're getting convenience today.
Maybe not you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to our application and for considering it another application from Forest Market. We're very grateful for all the support that we received from the council. This grant application is for our Meals on Wheels service, which is South Wairarapa wide. We provide meals to Greytown and Plumstead and work with groups there to we transport the meals to each of those towns, and then local groups take up the delivery within those towns, which is working really well. Within our own service within Martinborough, we actually have 45 volunteers working in Meals on Wheels. Not all on the roster every week, some of them once a month, but for those people, it's an important role that they play. So it's an important South Wairarapa wide community service. Unfortunately, since we closed residential care, our only source of regular income now is our retirement villas. And the retirement villages legislation does not allow us to use any of that income for non-village activities. So we cannot use it to support Meals on Wheels. And it just covers the cost of maintaining the Meals on Wheels numbers are about 700 meals a month, which is not enough to cover the costs of the cook that we employ, the kitchen, maintaining a kitchen, buying the food, and all the requirements, legislative requirements. So we have an operating deficit. We knew we would have a gap, because some of it was funded by the sort of West Home, the other heads went into the West Home budget. When we announced we were closing, we said that we might have to close Meals on Wheels. There was a very strong response from the community that Meals on Wheels had to continue, that we should continue that, and we said we would try and do our best. We did continue it seamlessly. Our trust board took a decision that we would continue for 6 months and see where that got us. That has enabled us to quantify the costs more accurately, quantify the loss, which is running at around $3,000 a month. So roughly 30 to 35,000 a year on report. No one wants it to close, but we cannot run at a loss without a considerable amount of support. And so you are
3,000 or 30,000?
30,000 per month.
30,000.
35,000 a year.
I think 3,000 is the loss of Wairarapa as an entity or just Meals on Wheels?
Just Meals on Wheels. The entity loss is.
I could see the others.
Well, the entity loss is bigger, but we're just looking at Meals on Wheels first. So, no, we have to make hard business decisions. We can't necessarily continue a loss-making service forever. We are relying on a lot of community support. We put up the price, but this is a bit what people can pay. Most of our recipients are on national super and have other sources of income. They're very good meals, very popular. If you were to award us the grant of $7,000 that we applied for, that would assure continuity of the service for around 9 to 10 weeks. And we continuously fundraise and transfer events. And I had a call this morning, a quiz group, on the quiz this week decided that they would donate their $250 prize to break our couple that prize. What if you know, it's probably about 20. So we do get little bits of income, but it's nice to be able to have something a little more substantial to know we can.
Yes, we still got, it is.
Then I'm happy to answer questions.
Just wanted to clarify, so since the time from when we previously gave the, when voting capital was changing, we gave the first.
Yes, you did. Yes,
towards
yes,
the
we
meals
used
on
that.
meals, because we know how important it is.
Yeah.
And so what you mentioned that you have done fundraising. What fundraising have you done? How much have you raised?
Well, everything we do now, we've got our Oak Tree community, which does bring in some money, and that brings in.
Yeah, the Oak Tree community is a regular monthly or annual giving program that we set up about 4 years ago. And
that's like me.
that is what, yeah, it's got members, and that's currently keeping it. So, wow, it's just.
And I think you mentioned that you've been doing other fundraising things for it, but knowing that Meals on Wheels and how important it is to the community and
Yeah.
wanting to keep
Well, we
it going.
haven't actually gone out and ran cake sales.
Yeah.
We have run into a little bit of a problem in that, in our community meetings, people have told us they just want the restaurant to open, nothing else. And so it's a difficult environment for us at present. We tell people, and we've had quite a few donations, so basically receiving donations. But they can never be relied on.
Yeah.
I've got a question, your revenue from sale of meals, so who's funding that? The partial funding, yeah.
No, and there is no subsidy for Meals on Wheels. They keep the recipients pay them.
Okay, the civilians are paying.
That we send them an invoice and they pay.
So what's it cost, Joy?
Just put it up to $12.50. They do get a very big meal, and I think probably most of them, it's their own pizza for the day. So it's $12.50. They get meat or fish, at least 3 vegetables, and a dessert. Those who wish to not have the dessert, get the package for $10.
In your financials, it says you're serving 6,900 meals per year. Is that old data? Has that increased to your 7,000 a month or 8,400 per annum?
It's a luxury, it's quite considerable
Yeah.
because with respect to people going to hospital.
Yeah.
So our annual number is very, very difficult.
I think I took an average of 700 a week and multiplied it by 52 to get 6,900. I think that's what we got to get 6,900 years. In a really good week, we would deliver 800.
Yeah.
In a low week, it would be more like 600. So I took an average of 700.
And how, can I ask how the
Sorry, no, sorry. So it's 700 times.
A month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how is the closing of the restaurant impacted the commercial viability of the Meals on Wheels service?
Right.
Because you're not providing the meals for residents anymore, and so, yeah.
No.
It's impacted on the service because we now, if we didn't have the Meals on Wheels, we wouldn't be running the kitchen. And there's the electricity costs. There are certain supply costs, which got sort of combined with restaurant food costs. We actually, I was wrong in my estimates. I didn't think the food costs for Meals on Wheels would be such a high proportion of the total food bill across the so.
And food is plus.
Yeah,
Spiral.
yes, food is spiraling in cost. We now employ a cook just for Meals on Wheels. And she is very busy. We had 2 cooks previously, but we now employ 1 cook more hours than the second cook who's allocated just for Meals on Wheels. And she has all the kitchen cleaning, all that sort of thing. And, waste disposal and everything, it all gets now attributed to Meals on Wheels.
Can I ask a question? Joy, did I hear you correctly in you saying that 7,500 that you're applying for now is only going to cover you for 9 weeks?
9 to 10 weeks.
Okay, so what have you got in place to go forward? Because if you're saying this is a buffer, we need to know that there's something at the end of.
I think we will actually carry on till the end of, at least the end of the financial year, I expect. But at the moment, we've got some revenue from sale of equipment with Karikaka. So there was some one-off income, little income flow, which is being used. And so it's, we're managing month by month, to be honest.
Basically, we're in that hiatus now of saying, you know, what happens to Paracalca next?
Yes.
With respect, one of the ways our main income earners was turning over our residential villas. We can't apply the day-to-day. We can't apply the day-to-day running villas to Meals on Wheels, although 3 of our residents, our fellow residents, do have Meals on Wheels. We can't so what we're doing over the next few months is deciding exactly where our capital goes. If we turned over a villa, I'm not advocating murder, that would but it's really where that's where our so as Joy said, we're just managing month by month.
Yeah. And at the moment we are towards the end of the financial year. Our financial year is the end of March. We will have a plan on how we move forward well before then.
And my next question is, I see that you put your 21-year financials in. You've obviously had that because March is your end of year thing. So did you have your 2022 financials this year to give us a better understanding?
We've got drafts, so the audit hasn't been completed yet.
Yeah. Because I looked on the charity's website.
No, we haven't had our AGM yet. No, we haven't completed that process yet.
But no residential aged care is a pretty picture. No. I mean, you all heard of the recent home compassion. Same question.
Thanks, Julie. So I saw the survey you've done about sometimes age.
The great nice.
So is there, so you're looking at maximising or changing the way you use your spaces?
Yes.
Is there some potential for income? I'm thinking in particular of some groups of like councillors and that kind of thing who currently pay rent elsewhere. So is there potential for income for you renting out the space, especially co-use spaces?
Yes, we are exploring that. I have to say, we haven't been very successful so far. Nobody wants to pay much. We're talking with the Martin Medical Centre about the university vaccines, and they're thinking of using some of our rooms for their visiting podiatrists, physios and so on. But they're not practice, which I would expect that much better. Yeah, and Red Cross is hiring our whole facility for a weekend to do a big training session. So things like that.
We're working with Age Concern. It seemed to make us, you know, when I saw it,
Well, what we're discovering is that the sort of groups that we really want to attract are unwilling to pay anything more than social token, like gold coin donation.
because everybody else has got money.
Yeah, that's right.
And our mandate as a trust is to provide services that will give, so we not recommend many of them.
Because I was thinking that there might be some groups, in particularly the Mountain community, who would find it a real struggle to travel to the institute.
Oh,
Various
right.
services that they could be.
When it's a question of getting the word out, I was at a Fire Community Network Zoom meeting yesterday, saying we have this facility, and people were sort of interested, and they said, "Oh, we don't do this, that, and the other." So
And you could use the funding under your trust for subsidising those on move, or does your trust?
yes, actually is. We can use, anything that meets the needs of all people, yes, that's our trust.
Any other questions, people? No, right, thank you very much. We've nearly put up, and Mary, I do apologise, we went very patient with you.
That's good. It's just one more presentation, and then you'll be next.
Okay, I'll turn my video off, end sound.
So I'm sure everyone's familiar with, how are you? Collins. Yes, hopefully.
So I'm Mary Bix and this is Julie Lewis. We're from the Student Book Town. And first of all, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to come and talk to you today. And also for the opportunity to apply for funding. This year you gave us $15,000 towards the youth fund, and I think we spent it beautifully and came up with some really, really good results. Talk about the South Island Council all the time, and wanted to thank you for believing in us. We had a fabulous festival this year, and a fabulous young readers program for children in schools. We were working with 19 schools throughout the Wairarapa, including the South Wairarapa. 1,200 children would have experienced an A grade writer in their school, someone that would inspire them to read or write more. 19 schools from throughout the Wairarapa. We had 18 presenters who came from all over New Zealand, 13 of whom stayed on for the weekend festival program. So the Young Readers program that we spent the $15,000 on was for 3 days before the festival weekend, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. There were 26 events planned for schools, and we had 10 events over the festival weekend for children as well. So altogether 36 events. One of the great things about this program was that we did a lot of collaborating with other groups to put this festival on. We worked very closely with Read New Zealand, they helped us design the program, and they advised us on who would be really an experienced writer to get into the schools. We also worked incredibly closely with Wairarapa. They set up, they introduced us to the schools, and we communicated with truly with the schools that way, and truly worked long hours to put this festival together too. The other really cool thing about the festival this year and the Young Leaders Program was that we worked very closely with Benwood this year, more so than in the past. We at our fish and chip supper on Friday, we had a combined group of 60 children from 3 Featherston schools to do a wonderful performance. Which really, it was just fantastic to see all the parents down the back of the room watching the kids do this performance. Papawai Marae invited us to bring our key senior Maori writers that came to the festival to have a hopefully at the Papawai Marae Saturday morning. This was an extraordinary experience for them and for the trustees of Booktown event, about 30 of us. We heard about the history of the marae and how important it is to the wildlife, and heard a lot of stories that we're going to work with the next festival. It was for me, it was the highlight of the whole festival. And as a result of that experience, the Young Readers Program in 2023, we hope to hold events at Papawai Marae, working with the art forms that are there, the carvings and that. Talk with the panels, to talk about the stories and things. The reason we're asking for funding is that we feel very strongly that we're creating opportunities for our young people. We're inspiring them to become lifelong readers and writers, and in doing so, we're boosting their well-being and life prospects. Another key purpose of Featherston Booktown and the festivals, what we're trying to do is to connect our communities within the South Wairarapa, within the Wairarapa, New Zealand and the world. And I'd like to just illustrate that with the book voucher scheme. The South Wairarapa District Council didn't fund that. That comes from personal donations and small businesses throughout the world. Julie was fantastic in driving revenue for that this year, but for the first time, and it was following advice that we got from the councillors, was we wanted to see funding that you gave us help not just Featherston, but Martinborough and Greytown as well. So, and you can see it worked really well with the book voucher scheme. So we opened it up to every primary school child in the South Wairarapa received $15 book vouchers. About 680 children actually redeemed their book vouchers. But what we also did was we opened it up to all the bookshops in the South Wairarapa. So Martinborough and Greytown bookshop were able to, the kids could go there to receive vouchers. Now the great thing about that, follow on from that, is that we are now working. This was an initiative, Bookshop Hop, an initiative started by Millie Blackwood at Greytown Village Bookshop, endorsed by Featherston Booktown. They're having a bookshop hop on the 8th of October, and it will involve every bookshop in the Wairarapa. And it's an ability for people to get a stamp every time they shop at one of the bookshops, and then they go into a draw and they can win $650 worth of book vouchers. The great thing about this from our point of view is that we are going to continue this by creating a bookshop map of the whole of the Wairarapa, and it will become a bit like the wine trade, another aspect of tourism to attract people to the region.
No infrastructural spend.
Yeah. And we're really excited about it. So, so that's, you know, that's come out of this wonderful support for young readers. We are asking for considerable more funds than last year. You might think we're very deep.
Did we say
And I just wondered, the Young Readers Program in school, so 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I just want to put that into perspective for you. That program that we ran this year is the second biggest young readers program in the whole of New Zealand. And the Library of Apple is the Southland Chapter is second behind the Writers Festival. We thought we saw, or no, we saw 20,000 children, 1,200 children. If the weather wasn't so foul on Friday, we would have seen the Auckland Writers Festival this year came out and said 2,000 children. So we are really, really punching up here. It was half the size of the whole Team Festival. So we normally have about 50 events in that weekend festival. So we had 25 in addition to that. So obviously that took a lot more resource in terms of dinner. How many hours did you work that morning? Oh, yeah.
No one needs to.
I remember seeing it inside in container.
We explored that 5 weeks in a row, didn't we?
Yeah.
12-hour days.
Yeah.
Festival itself. And, we were pretty naked. Yeah. Plus, we had to organise volunteers and things like that to support that young readers festival. By the way, we had 134 volunteers working across the festival this year, which is pretty significant for coming from the world. And this year, I thought this book along. This is a new book out. It's written by scientists. It's about wetlands. There's a section on what I'm working on at the moment is a really exciting thing. We're working with hydrogen the local Ryan Kingston. We want to get some of the scientists, actually 6 of the scientists involved in here to come to do a workshop, half-day workshop for children in the South Island. They'll learn how to extract DNA. They'll do core samples of the lake so that they can learn what was in the lake, what is in the lake, what could be in the lake. We want to bring in Maori storytellers so that there's that literary writing side of science. We're going to try and get a local archaeologists to talk about what has gone on around the lake. Yeah, and have an open day for children because they're doing a lot of regeneration. And so we want to sort of bring that all together and get our young kids involved at this stage when it's still really impressionable. No, any questions?
I'm sure there are.
Yeah.
A question about the increase in the number of people. You've answered it beautifully. So,
yes, great.
I've got an initial question is that you extend this outside the South Warrior for 4 years.
Yes.
And I'm just wondering, have you approached other councils to say we are working in your area?
I have.
And what's your response?
Okay, so I missed the councils in application. I've applied to the Master Community and I'm talking to them tomorrow to make an application. I misunderstood. I didn't well, there was we didn't know what time it was, so I was quite really giving us as well. But I'm hoping that we will get a couple of events covered that are held in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, if I could comment, certainly when we challenged you last year to say, let's look at what you were doing in the South Warwick, you responded very well. I'm really happy with what you did. And also the work, the community funding of that voucher scheme.
It's come from small businesses, a lot, actually more from Greytown and Marshall than Featherstone.
Yeah.
You know, they're donating $500 a time.
Can I also suggest you go to the Warwick on the Line Governance Group and ask Regional Council and Doctor funding of their educational program on the weekends?
Yes.
They budget. Yeah, a question.
Just one, can I just clarify that we put in you 10,000 as an MOU, didn't we? So it's a 25 over and above that? or-
Yes, yes, so I'm applying to, we're applying to the youth fund.
Yes, yes.
But-
So
and I know
you
you
did
did.
15 last time, so it's 25 this time. Yeah, just get my brain around it.
It makes logical sense to separate them because one is adult and the other is youth.
Yeah.
Well, that's all. We know so much about you. And Julie, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, no, and thank you for all your work doing, but yeah, it's like, and so making such an beautiful, amazing event for the it's Brian Lex now, you know, since it was first established, and it's just, you're an absolute credit.
Oh, thank you. You guys have been incredible support from the get-go. So, you know, and you last since there, they have been incredible.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. We're only 18 minutes behind. But Jill's been very patient here online.
I know.
Hey, hi.
We have Jill volunteering Warwick. Over to you.
Okay, well,
Really familiar with.
sorry?
I'm sure you're very familiar with this situation or.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I get a bit confused because I do a lot of them. I've got 3 of them today. So just a briefing, and I won't take much of your time so you can catch up. Basically, we are applying on behalf of the Wairarapa Walking Festival. Volunteering Wairarapa's role is we are doing the project management for that. And as you can imagine, we've currently got 41 walks, and it is quite a mammoth task. But there you go, we're coping so far. So basically, as is written, and I'll take most of this as read, the festival will be from then, I keep having to look, I think it's the 11th, that's right, 11th of November until the 20th of November, 10-day festival, 41 walks, and currently there are 12 walks scheduled to take place in South Wairarapa District Council. Should walks basically be cancelled, we won't be replacing them because our aim was 30, 10 per district, but in actual fact, someone got very enthusiastic and say no. And as you can imagine, that takes quite a little bit of effort from a project management perspective. So we are just asking you for pretty much $1,000 for basically for the kind of work that we're having to do. Actually, I've got the budget on up here. So as you can see, we are looking, the expenditure is we're running first aid courses, which are for self-funded. We got a grant from Trust House for that. Yeah, so we're getting grants. Obviously the marketing is Times Age gave us a really good reduction on a truckload of ads that are going to go in from actually starting from this coming week. And yeah, so we're running it pretty much on an oily rag, but I think it's going well. So really just asking you for that support. Just to let you know, Carterton has supported us with 2,000, and we're this morning after this, I shall be asking Masterton for 3,000. Obviously, they have a few more ratepayers to pay for this. So open for questions. Anyone want to know anything about it?
I think you've answered already one of my questions. So you know, Council, you got any questions for Jill? Well done, Jill.
All good?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just to let you all know, the registrations are open, and we have 20 walkers per walk. We have a first aider, etc. So we're using 3 volunteers. So if you guys want to look on the website and have a look when you see the advertising, it'd be great to have you along on one of the walks.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye.
We're catching up now. Does anyone need a break? We're going to the 5 to 3, so. Yeah, okay, right. Michelle. Who's Michelle?
I'm representing property.
Presbyterian support.
I'm looking around looking for Michelle as well.
Looks like you're it. Bobby, so you want to?
So my name is Diana Anderson.
Yep.
And I'm the team leader for Family Works Wairarapa.
I know you only got 5 minutes. We've got your grant application in front of us.
I haven't been to one of these meetings before. I thought there'd been maybe 3 people.
Yeah, well, casual. It's not like a council meeting. It's hopefully not too unapproachable. But I think just tell us all about what you're doing.
Thank you. So thanks for the opportunity for coming this morning. With Family Works, we're part of Presbyterian support with the social services arm. You may have, we're based in Masterton now, but you may have known us as Turret House in Fox Street and Featherston. We've been here probably nearly about 30 years. I work there as a social worker on and off, and now we're based in the Masterton area. But we still do work in South Wairarapa. Most of the work that we do, we have a wraparound service. So we do social work, we remain with parents and caregivers. We do counselling as well. So we counsel family groups as well as individuals. We do a lot of counselling with children. So some of our staff are specialised in working with children. And we do safety programs as well. So with these being family harm, we work with the adults who've been harmed as well as the children. We do those in groups or individually. A lot of the work that we do in South Wairarapa is either in people's homes, we come to them, or in schools. Schools are really understanding of the work that we do, especially with the children, and we have groups, and they give us a private space that we can work in. Because our staff are really mobile, what we've asked for today is for help with a new laptop. So we have 6 staff who go out and about in the community, and at the moment we've got 3 laptops, so we have to share. Yeah. And with COVID, that started a couple of years ago, with the wave that we've recently had, and with the flu, people have been isolating at home, or our staff have been isolating. So we've had to work in a different way. We're still an essential service, so we still need to work with people. And so we've needed to use Zoom or Teams and still try to work face to face with people through that way. We've got 6 staff and only 3 laptops. That's really hard to do. Yeah. You'll see on our application that in the last financial year, so our financial year starts from the 1st of July to 30th of June. We saw 21 people in the South Wairarapa. So since July already, we've already seen 20. And it's not even the first quarter yet.
That's increasing.
Absolutely. Yeah. And a lot of that is, it's sad that we see people who go through family harm, but it's really good that there's more reporting of it so that we're aware, so that we can support people. And there's a lot of anxious children as well with COVID, and it really has impacted on them. Their anxiety, their mental health, and so that's a lot of the issues that we're dealing with.
Awesome. We've heard about the need for social services and mobility now, and this makes perfect sense. Any questions?
So how do people, or how do you connect with people with families? How does that connection begin? So we get a lot of self-referrals, word of mouth. We've got a good reputation in the community as well. And or people refer to us, so it might be the school. I, got a call from a school principal and said, look, mum's coming really upset. Things are happening for her. It's a small community, so I have to be really careful with that. Community mental health might give us a call as well. People don't quite meet their criteria, and they have to go somewhere. So, and other social services give us a ring as well. We work with each other. What I really like in this community, because I've worked in the Wellington community as well, there'll be a pot of money and people go full and don't touch my church. But here it's really different. It's about the people and the children and about what their needs are. And so we all work together more here. It's really cool. A big difference that I've seen working on this side of the room. That was
Thanks. Thank you very much. So do we have Mandy? Do we have Mandy here? Lisa. And Joe. Yeah.
Yeah, so, here are our candidates.
welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah. We've got 5 minutes and it's not formal. Please, I don't mind if you want to on us. We have 5 minutes. See the time, but we're familiar with the presentation. We do have an ability, so we can go for it.
Keep that some time today and to review our application and hear a bit more about who we are. Barrow is almost coming out for a second event today in the series of characters. Our aim is to emerge the sustainable cases. Funded by myself and Joe in 2019, we connected through our children and making sure that we were looking after children for them. And our core values are knowledge, sustainability, and
So you can all see what we've written about knowledge. And this is just what we touch on when we do our intros with the children. But what I was going to talk to you about more was the money that you gave us on here and how we've spent it, which has been fantastic. Thank you. We've had a very good start in Featherstone, where we've established now a hub that will continue without us to actually physically make the pads. And we've also had a very good start at Underpants in Martinborough. We're merely making a lot of pads there as well. We've also had an intro session at Martinborough School that went really well. So many of the girls were really interested. A couple of them came down the next Saturday to join the workshop. But sometimes with sports and mums and everything, but we've got a list of people wanting to come and join us. And also we're going to be starting in Cobblestones in Greytown next time. But we've actually made a lot of product now. So following our introductory workshops to the schools, we're about to start delivering actual product so that it can sit alongside the disposables that the government has given them. And because we've done an introductory workshop with the girls, our hope is that they will pick one of ours over a disposable. And that's a measure that we want to try and start measuring so that you can see from our infographic how many savings we would make on disposable product. So we're very happy with what we gave us last year. And sustainability, of course, is our big thing. And we show the kids this picture, which is, it's a world picture, so it could be from anywhere in the world. But then what we do is we bring it back to something that's local, which is the next picture. And this one here was given to us by Sam Ludden, because we're part of the environmental educators now. So we've joined them and joined their meetings, and this is actually Masterton. So we show the girls that, and what we're trying to do is save some of this problem Yeah, but at least for now. And I think what we try to do is have an open conversation, particularly around how everyone has a choice in the decisions we make. And we're hoping by sharing the knowledge and our passion around sustainability and broadening their understanding and an open conversation about how they see global issues, but also understanding who they are and what's important to them, and that's what makes up how we make choice. And we talk about well-being as well as the way CBD is an issue at the moment. And when we talk about well-being, we talk about the whole model, which is the defined far, which is the model that's used in schools again, trying to make it relevant and accessible in school lines, and we use that as a general conversation in our community workshops as well. So bringing back the dual benefit of making good choices, both support our own personal well-being, that environmental well-being as well, and how they can make an actual valid and simple contribution by making a choice for getting the skills to make these products for themselves that impacts both their well-being and the global issue of climate crisis. But they can make an actual simple contribution. Kind of good for them. And then sort of coming back to where we are as the charity, and last time Julia was actually was at the community networks and we talked about our strategic plan. So we've gone through quite a bit of processes as a charity, and our next one is trying to help us with policy time to help us come up with what our strategic plan is and so a key focus for us will be comes in the marketing plan, how we build a website over a phased approach as we evolve as an organisation, and developing and building upon community level behaviours we've already got in place. Joe talked about it in Featherstone, and now evolving at Masterton as well. We had a book club that came to one of our community workshops up in Masterton, a group of 4 ladies, and they're now taking the cut product and making multiple beyond which is a lovely story. Building partnerships with community organisations. We've got a good partnership now with and they're actually co-funding for us to go into our intro workshops in the Masterton schools, which is a really great initiative. That rolling out over the next 10. And also consolidating our package of delivery, so modularising what we do in schools, and both the intro level and the longer term level, modularising what we do on the community level, so that is a replicable model. So once we've gone in and done our initial term for 6 weeks, a community group can take that on and run with it, just like we run it. So that's kind of our strategic approach. Yes.
Any question? It's very clear. So I noticed you're operating right through the country.
Right through the region.
Actually through the country as well. I saw some comments there.
Oh, well, there are some connections.
This is a South Wales specific project. And it's very youth focused.
It is very interesting. So also for the community, like the volunteer element, the fact that it's actually going to create the product, maybe in an ongoing way. Hopefully, there's dual pathway. So we've got in school that will be driven by the school and school community, so PTAs and teachers, and the right for the community element will be quite different for us.
The end focus, is the cobblestones, the schools, all that sort of stuff. It's important for us on which funders comes out.
Okay,
Cool. Fantastic.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Thanks for coming. That's fine. We can always leave that open. Because we'll have a pause now for a couple of people in the bathroom stop. And then we'll come back and we're actually ahead of ourselves now, which is, shall we say 20 minutes? 11 and 20.